What if the very organization you trusted to protect you ended a decades-long alliance overnight? In October 2025, the FBI cut ties with one of America's most powerful civil rights groups, the Southern Poverty Law Center. For years, they worked together to expose hate and fight extremism. But now that partnership is over. Why? What happened behind closed doors? Tonight, we uncover the story of how one of America's strongest alliances unraveled and what it means for the future of justice. To understand what was lost, we need to go back to where it all began. 1971, Montgomery, Alabama. Two young lawyers, Morris Dees and Joseph Levin, founded the Southern Poverty Law Center, or SPLC, with a simple mission: to fight racism, inequality, and injustice. The country was still reeling from the civil rights movement, and hate groups were everywhere. The SPLC fought back in courtrooms, communities, and the national spotlight. Throughout the 1970s and 80s, the SPLC became a legal powerhouse. They sued the Ku Klux Klan and won, bankrupting major hate groups and protecting victims of racial violence. They built something powerful: the Intelligence Project, a national database tracking extremist organizations. For law enforcement, this data became gold, and soon the FBI took notice. In 2007, then FBI Director Robert Mueller publicly named the SPLC as a trusted partner, alongside the NAACP and National Urban League. Together, they worked on reopening civil rights cold cases, murders and disappearances that had gone unsolved for decades. Families found answers. Justice was finally served. It was one of the most successful collaborations between federal investigators and a nonprofit organization in modern history. The SPLC's archives and research gave the FBI access to patterns and evidence hidden for years. Together, they tracked hate networks, solved cold cases, and educated communities on extremism. The partnership wasn't just official, it was moral. The FBI and the SPLC stood side by side, united by a common enemy: hate itself. But alliances don't last forever. Over time, critics began to accuse the SPLC of bias, claiming its hate map, which listed extremist groups across the U.S., unfairly targeted conservatives, religious organizations, and even advocacy groups. The SPLC stood by its data, but opponents said the map was being used to silence dissent. The line between watchdog and political player started to blur. In 2025, tragedy struck. The assassination of conservative figure Charlie Kirk shocked the nation. The group he founded, Turning Point USA, had been listed by the SPLC as extremist. Overnight, the narrative flipped. Critics blamed the SPLC for fueling hostility. The pressure on the FBI to distance itself became unbearable. Billionaires, politicians, and media giants weighed in. Elon Musk called the SPLC's work hate propaganda. Conservative lawmakers demanded the FBI end all cooperation, and new FBI Director Kash Patel listened. He called the SPLC a partisan smear machine and began dismantling old partnerships one by one. On October 3, 2025, it became official. The FBI cut all ties with the SPLC and even the Anti-Defamation League. Patel declared the organizations had crossed the line from activism into politics. He accused them of spreading misinformation and endangering the public. The decision shocked both sides of the political aisle and ended a partnership that had lasted nearly 20 years. The SPLC fired back. In a statement, it defended decades of work fighting racism and extremism, calling the FBI's move a betrayal of trust. Supporters said the decision stripped law enforcement of critical data and expertise. Others saw it as a long overdue correction, a way to keep the FBI independent from politics. Now, without the SPLC's vast archives, the FBI must rely solely on its internal databases and intelligence networks. Experts worry this could slow investigations into domestic extremism. Others say it's symbolic. part of a broader shift redefining how government interacts with watchdog organizations. Either way, a chapter of collaboration has closed. Maybe for good. The reaction was instant. Civil rights activists condemned the decision. Conservative voices celebrated it. News outlets scrambled to interpret what it all meant. Some warned of a chilling effect on civil rights advocacy. Others hailed it as the start of a new era of transparency within law enforcement. This isn't just a severed contract. It's a reflection of something much bigger, a test of how far America's institutions can bend before they break. When does partnership become dependency? When does advocacy become influence? And when truth itself becomes political, who decides what's right? The FBI's break with the SPLC marks one of the most dramatic shifts in U.S. law enforcement history. Whether it leads to independence or isolation, only time will tell. If you found this story eye-opening, subscribe for more deep dives into power, politics, and the hidden stories shaping our world.